Can you see my hands?
Yeah. But they're pretty far away, so you can't see all of it. I can
You can't see my hands?
them. I can't see all of it. I can.
You can't see all my hand?
It's like only about to here.
Yeah, like
What?
like if you do this.
Move your hand.
Like,
Oh, you can see my hands. What are you talking about?
But if you're way over there,
You can see my hand all the way up the cutting board. As Grant Blade Search, we're going to bring you specifications you can relate to so you can have an educated decision on your purchases. We have two knives here. These are the Fracture. It was a part of a customer appreciation process where you can actually go and name the knives. So this was on Instagram, I believe, where it was able to be named. These are slip joint knives. The hole looks like you should be able to spidey flick it out or flick it out. And you can't because there's a slip joint. So that's going to be something that's there. It's in blue, black, green, gray, and orange. So I have two of the colors here. And then there's two different blade shapes as well. So if you like it, then stop the video, go over to your favorite retailer and buy it. Because GP Knives, I think they already sold out of their allotment. So if you do want to pick it up, do that. Thank you to Civivi for providing the knives to the pass-around group. So we're able to keep these, use these as well. So we're going to do something a little bit different. You see a little cutting board here. So we're going to do some food prep with them because Bonds, Smokes, and Mace would like to eat some cucumber or some other type of vegetable. So we're going to be doing that, seeing how well it cuts for some of the things here. But if you do want them, go and check it out. So this is going to be what it looks like for the drop point blade and also the Tonto blade. That's going to be how those look. So that's going to be the Tonto and the drop point. So those are there. I guess the first thing off, I am not an expert in slip joints. I have a few, and it's not my main type of knife that I have, but it is something that I do own. And so I have a little bit of experience with some of them, and I will talk about those as we go. But let's see which fruit which vegetable we're gonna cut up first. So first veggie. So we have one of these. So bell pepper, we're gonna cut this one up. So as you see, there's a Tonto blade. So it is a little stabby. So it does stab pretty well as far as the blade goes. It is a little bit thicker than the other ones. So this one is the regular drop point blade as far as how that's gonna work. So we're gonna be cutting this up. And it is a slip joint knife, so you're gonna watch out for your fingers. Because recently a buddy went and cut his pinky and went to the emergency room because it was a slip joint. And it slips down, then actually goes into those things. So that's what we're going to do today. So open this up, and we're gonna take out the seeds because I don't want to eat the seeds. I don't think you guys want to eat the seeds.
Can I say something?
Yes, you can say something. What would you like to say?
That is our mom's favorite pepper.
That's true. Yep.
And I love that pepper.
Favorite veggie.
I like that veggie too.
No, it's fine.
Can I have some veggie?
Hold on. You want to try some bell pepper?
No, thank you. I have tried some bell pepper.
Okay.
It's yummy.
Cool. So we're going to try this one first. So this is going to be the Tonto blade, basically on the regular cuts. So it does have a bit of resistance going through this vegetable. So that's going to be kind of not understanding as far as how that works, because this one is going to be a little bit thicker behind the edge for it. So the Tonto blade, this one came out to be about 9 sheets of paper behind the edge. So that's going to be a little bit different. You're going to try that one. So that's about 9 sheets of paper for the belly here, and also the belly for the tip. So that's going to be different than the drop point blade. The drop point one, this one actually came out to about 5 sheets of paper behind the edge, the thickness. So that's going to be a little bit better going through some of this with a little bit more resistance. So he's going to try that one. So it cuts pretty well. So we're going to be cutting some of these things up, have it available for little snacks throughout the day, see how it works, see how everything is. Mr. Smokes, do you want some too?
No.
Yes, you do.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
No.
Okay.
But it said there were the.
It was a little shaky.
No, it said period.
Portrait.
Yeah. And it was on the, and it keeps going on the seeds.
It thinks the seeds are eyes.
Huh?
So we're going to do that one. So that's a drop point. So overall for this type of cutting, it's not meant for this. I mean, it is a knife, so it can do it, but it's not going to be meant for this type of task. But that's where you're going to have this available for this type of cutting. So it does have more resistance for the Tonto blade than the other one. but it does the job when you're in a pinch for if you want to cut it up. One that I think is going to actually do very well for this type of cutting task is going to be not one of these, but also within their same lineup, and that's going to be the Plethoros. This one actually is from Civivi as well. So this type of blade shape, at least from the way it looks, it should cut up better than the others, but we'll see how that works as well. So
I couldn't see the knife.
you couldn't see it?
Yeah.
It's right there.
Oh man. I can't
It's
see.
orange.
Yeah.
Oh, now you can see it.
Yeah.
Yep, so Plethoros. So yeah, right off the bat, this one is quite a bit slicier than the others as far as how it cuts through this vegetable here for the green pepper. So for food prep reasons, if you are wanting to get a folding knife for that, the Plethoros is probably going to be a better way to go. It is locking as well, so if you already have one of these and you want to get a slip joint, then that's going to be the difference for the other one. You want that one too? Okay, there you go. So we're almost done with the green pepper for that, but definitely the Plethoros is going to be a better way out of the other two. So these are going to be the other ones that are available for that. We have a few other things to cut up as well, and then kind of talking about some of the other slip joints that I have available. But I was able to make some taco salad with this knife as well, but it's kind of, it didn't cut through the tomato very well. It's kind of just really had more resistance to it. Didn't really break the skin too well for the tomato. So that's where, as far as the slip joint goes, if you don't know, one of my favorite ones for slip joint is going to be the Luna from Real Steel. So that's going to be this one. This is their budget line. So there's going to be a natural G10. It's going to be a really a little bit smaller knife, but as far as the blade itself, it is a lot more slicey than the others. So if we go in through and cut this stuff, it just has a lot better type of feel for it as far as going through that green pepper. So if for a recommendation for a knife, still the Luna has a really good blade, so it actually does really well for the type of knife it is. There's a slip joint and has a pocket clip for it. So that's one thing that you get with both of them. You do get a pocket clip. So I was actually carrying both of these knives. So it's right and left hand carry. So I had one knife in my right pocket, one knife in my other pocket. There's a deep carry pocket clip for it. So that's going to be how that looks right there. And then the other one is going to be this deep carry pocket clip for the Real Steel Luna. So that's going to be those two there. Price wise, if you've already, probably at this point, if you didn't go and buy one, you may not have the opportunity, or you may not have bought one, but $28.50 is what you're going to pay for that. It is going to be a one-time run, so you're not going to be able to pick it up again. So if you do not want to get it now, granted, if it's popular, they will probably come out with different designs. Might not be the Fracture, but it'll be some other name. I'm sure if it's going to be a popular knife, they'll come out with another variation at one other point. But $28.50 for most of your retailers, so check that out. Again, GP knives, I believe they're sold out already for what they have, but blade steel on both of these is going to be 8CR14 MOV. That's going to be kind of it's still a budget blade, so that's going to be something that is about 10 percentile for corrosion resistance and about 4 percentile for edge retention. So we're going to move on to something else. Mr. Mesa's going, hey, let's move it along. Let's get something else cut up here because it's kind of boring. So let's go and get something else. What else are we cutting up because they want to eat something else? You want a celery stick? Mr. Bonds wants a celery stick.
No, I don't.
Yes, he does.
No, I want that. A cucumber.
No, he wants celery.
So we're going to cut these little bigger chunks. So I'll actually get this ready for more of a peanut butter type of stick, so it's going to be a little bit longer.
Please.
Oh, maybe that one's a little bit yucky on the end.
Please, I'm thinking of a cucumber.
So you want another one of those, or you want a cucumber?
Cucumber. No.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. So I'm sure there's more vegetables and more type of vitamins within the leaves, but we don't eat the leaves. Just kind of leave it cut off.
I want a piece
Because
of
we're not going to
celery.
do that. You want a piece of celery too?
Yeah.
So here you go. You can have a piece of celery. There you go.
Is this a good piece?
Yeah. What makes it a bad piece?
Ew.
Yeah, I told you.
What?
I hate him.
You hate them.
Yeah.
Okay, what else are we cutting up? So we're also going to
Another
be trying
celery
out,
stick.
another celery stick. So we're going to try this with the Plethros, also from Civivi, so same brand.
The cucumbers are coming last.
Yeah, so if you didn't know, the Civivi is the budget brand for WE knives. So WE is a very popular knife for OEM work. They do a lot of work for a lot of different companies. Drop.com comes to mind for one of the more popular ones that they use to build the knives that they have available to them. So that's going to be that one there. We'll try the Luna as far as how this works. Again, we're going back to kind of a comparison one because that's kind of the one that I have for kind of the standard for a slip joint as far as a modern one. Because there's something that traditional folks talk about as far as walk and talk.
I can't
so
see
that's
the
going to
celery.
be. You don't need to see the celery, but walk and talk is something that you have. So that's going to be how it sounds. So when it closes and when it opens. So I think the Luna has a very good sound for it as far as how it sounds for either way. That's one thing that's kind of missing from the Civivi line is it's a little bit muted in the sound that it has. So that's the closure and the opening. It does not really have that walk and talk as far as that information goes, as far as that feedback. So it basically in that closed position, it has it where that gets that stop pin right at the edge of the blade. So that makes contact at about here on the blade itself. So that's when it closes. So you get that little bit of metal sound when it hits that. But we'll see how this other one works. Yeah, we'll get to the cucumber. Yeah, you need a bowl for it. We'll get a bowl. So right off the bat, I mean, that is a lot better. So I know the other one was provided, but being transparent as far as things go, this is still probably my favorite as far as a modern traditional knife. As far as the Luna. So this one is the budget version. There are some defects on it, so this little jimping on the bottom side, there is a little bit of damage on that, so when it hits the stop pin or the pin on the bottom, that actually seems to have damaged that jimping a little bit.
Celery is Mace's favorite vegetable.
No?
No. Well, that's one of his.
Cucumbers.
It's one of his favorite.
So cucumbers he said is his favorite. So one thing I found for slip joints, just because it can close, I'm sure that some other people use it differently, but I kind of use more of a pinch grip for it, because just in case it does close down, I would rather have my fingers not in the path of travel and not be able to cut my fingers.
There's one for all of us. These are for all of us.
Oh, get something bigger.
Get a bigger one.
Bowl. So while he gets another bowl, because he brought in little itty bitty Tupperware bowls, because he wanted to split it up between everybody, we'll get this one cut up as well. So still using the Luna for that. We'll go back to the other one, but you can kind of maybe hear the difference between how it cuts up and everything. But we'll get that set up. So we'll go over to, at least for the same brand, Civivi for the Plethros. This is one of the ones from Isham as far as a design that I really like. Like, there's a lot of different things about it that are really cool, especially even this grind here as far as how that looks. It's actually done really well, and I may not have that in camera, but my director behind here, Mr. Schmogs, didn't give me any feedback whether that was in camera or not. So we'll see if it was. It is in camera. Oh, okay. Is it still in camera? Still in camera?
Yes.
Still in camera? Still in camera?
No.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. So that's going to be how that looks. So we're almost out of the celery. So we'll go back to the knives in question, which are the
There's
fractures.
two more celery sticks.
Two more celery sticks. So the handle length on these are 4.4 inches. That's going to be across, and it's going to be the same on both of them for that. And then they're going to be the weight-wise between the two. The Tonto weighs a little bit more, so that's going to be where this one is. So you can one hand open it. Tonto is going to be 3.1 ounces. That's 15 quarters and 1 penny. And then the regular drop point is going to be regular 15 quarters. So you drop 1 penny off of that, you'll be able to get an idea as far as what that is. And something's wrong with the celery stick. Yeah, I've never seen that before, so I'm not going to eat that.
What?
It's squishy.
Yeah.
That means it's old or something.
So we'll get rid of that.
I'll take
take it.
So, not a food prep thing. And with the Tonto Blade, it's not going to be something that you're going to be. I wouldn't use it for stabbing stuff just because it could close. So that's where still it's going to be more of a pinch. And then maybe we're going to be going up a little bit where you can actually cut through a box or something. But just be careful with those things.
Could you cut up the pepper seeds?
No, why would I cut up the pepper seeds?
So the camera doesn't think it's eyes.
Oh, so it doesn't think it's eyes.
Yeah, because it's not. It's thinking it's eyes.
What does portrait mean?
Just upwards. Another thing that we have now, so other slip joints that I do have. So this is the farm and field tool. This one is the bull nose. Got this over from JT's Knife Life. So this is probably the worst one for amount of weight this takes to open. So this one is going to be, I think, somewhere around 5 or 6 pounds. Feels like I'm going to rip my fingernail off. So that's going to be how this one works. So the other one, so between the two, there's basically the amount of weight it took to open the other ones. One of them was, I don't know which one was which, but one of them was basically 1 pound, 1 pound 12 ounces to get it from the close to the half, 1 pound 5 ounces to half to the open, and then back close it was 1 pound 15, 1 pound 12. The other one was this one, and this one was basically 1 pound 13 to open, 1 pound 5 to open the other way, and then 2 pounds 4 and 1 pound 11. So I think it was switched on that. So this is actually the one that was heavier, and you can feel that a little bit, but if you have it, you're not going to notice that difference. But that's where I use the Lyman pull gauge to get that information. But this is probably the worst one, and I sent it in for service too, and then they just went and took out the little divot, because when it closed, since it has such a strong spring pressure, it actually hit the back spring. So that's where they polished it out. But the spring pressure is just really, really high. So this is another one that I have for the Schmidt and Morgan. This is one of their Heritage Series ones, and this one I feel is done very well as far as how this one operates. So that's no longer in existence for these folks. But that is that. So we're going to move on to one more piece of celery. So we'll get this one done up.
And then we'll move on to the cucumber.
Then we'll move on to the cucumber. And that's the bad one, so leave that off.
The bad what?
There's a bad spot.
No, not the I think it's part of it.
Yeah, so it does a job if you're in a bind, but as far as doing this type of cutting, it's not great. And that's even worse, especially when it wasn't wet as far as the fruit goes. And then we'll look at this one.
Veggie.
Oh man.
Veggie, not fruit. Vegetable. You are correct. It is not a fruit. So that's going to be those cut up. And then we're going to move on to something that they want to eat.
Cucumber.
Cucumber.
Yum.
We'll get some of these off here. And then while we're taking that break between the two, we'll see what the sizes are. So this is going to be where we're going to have these here. And then you're going to have the bug out. So this is going to be the sizing for that, for a bug out. And then you're going to also have the rat number 2 for this one here. So this is going to be a rat 2 in comparison to the other one. That's what you're going to have for that. Don't need the scale. Thank you very much, sir. So taking it out of the pocket, the spring pressure on it was it took about 1 pound 3 ounces to actually pull this out of the pocket. It is right hand tip up, left hand tip up, so you can actually switch it around to the other side. It is not recessed into the scale, so that's where you're going to have just flush on both sides. Screws are recessed, so I didn't have any issues going in and out of the pocket where it didn't hang up, because some of them do have the screw heads where they stick up a little bit more, and it does cause an issue with that. So we're going to move on to the cucumber and see how it does. So this actually, I mean, if these type of tests are kind of interesting, maybe we'll do this every week and just cut up some stuff and then have the knife of the week and then see how it does. But
How about you call
so that's a little bit thicker
You
just
call
to see
it
how it goes.
cute.
And then we'll try and get it to be a little bit thinner and see if it actually can do it. Yeah, so it can cut thinner as we go. And are we still in frame, Mr. Schmogs?
Yes.
Yes, we are. So it still works pretty well. Again, in a bind, this isn't bad. It still stays pretty well on track for cutting as far as the drop point one. So we'll see how the Tonto blade works for this type of cutting. And pretty bad. So it doesn't want to track very well. It kind of deviates off as it is a thicker blade. So as you have that angle from the tip of it, it has a little bit thicker blade. So the angle from this point here, the sharpened side, to the actual blade stock is a little bit higher. So that doesn't help too much for that. So blade length is about 3.35 for the drop point, 3.33 for the Tonto blade. So that's going to be what you're coming with that. And blade stock came in at 2.48 millimeters on both units. So that's going to be the thickness that you can have for that. So I guess the conclusion for this one is Tonto is not good for cutting stuff. So drop point is probably going to be the way to go for being able to at least cut these type of things. And the blade is thick enough to actually be able to cut all the way through. So as we go back to some of the other blades, we'll see how well it does. So this one I thought would be the best cutter, and it seemed like it was. So it does work pretty well, stays pretty well on track. And we can see if we can get it really thin for it as well. So you can get it thin, yes.
I think you should name that cutting vegetables.
Yeah, that's pretty straightforward. I think people would understand that.
Because you cut vegetables.
So the title of the video should be Cutting Vegetables.
Yep.
So that's how that one works. It works pretty well. Not too much better than the drop point blade. And we'll kind of see how the Luna works for this as far as the cutting. The blade's a little bit thinner, so it doesn't really go all the way through. But still, I feel it is a better slicer, thinner blade stock for it. Oh, watch out there. Stay out of the thing. So with so many hands around, they got to make sure that they stay out of the cutting path, and safety thing for everybody else. Do not put your hands in the way of a blade. Not a good idea. Right?
Yes.
Is it a tool or a toy?
Tool.
Yeah.
Once our dad dropped a knife on his toe.
Yep.
And it cut it.
Yep.
One time it was his own finger.
But it's an accident.
Yep. So that's what we have for that one. So I'm going to leave this one out from this because I know this doesn't cut well for this type of vegetable. So we're going to use the drop point for it for the rest of this cutting. But this is kind of basics for it. So how does this translate to you cutting a box? Well, really, this type of material is going to be a little bit thicker, so it's going to act more like maybe a double wall cardboard. So yes, it's a vegetable. Yes, it is not a packing material, but it's going to be where you're going to have that material moving. It doesn't matter if it is portrait. So are these unified cuts? Am I a professional chef? Absolutely not, but it is something that is edible and able to be eaten. This is a one-hand operation where you can close it and open it, so there's going to be kind of really ingenious design as far as how all the mechanisms work. So I use basically a pinch to the middle or the half stop, and I would roll it out the rest of the way with my thumb, and then pushing down it would have this edge here. So I would push it here and then it moves on to the lower part to close it the rest of the way. So that's where it works pretty well for that. So we'll cut up the rest of these, but I think overall, out of the two, which one do I prefer? I would prefer the drop point over the Tonto blade, and we'll see how well they sell.
I like the Luna better.
You like the Luna better, the green one?
Yeah, I like Luna too.
Just 'cause as I found, I lost the last part of the video. The rest of it got stayed on there, which is good because I thought I lost the whole thing. Which, if you've made it this far, you know how long that is, and that would have been very bad. But yes, so we're gonna cut up a little bit more things, but overall, as far as opinion-wise, I think the drop point is going to be a better choice. That's one that I would go with. I would go with that more than the other, but the boys like different things. So, Mr. Bonds, which one do you like?
I have to get the star label.
It was the green one.
Yep, he liked the
Guys,
green
I
one.
have to get the
So he liked the
star
Luna,
label, okay?
and he's going off to get another bowl. And then Mr. Bonds, which one do you like?
Could I
Or,
try
no, Mr. Schmokes.
Mr. Smokes.
the Luna?
You like the Luna too?
Yep.
So he likes the Luna. So Bonds and Smokes likes the Luna. What about Mr.
Can I
Mace?
have a piece?
And he likes the Plethoros. Move your hands. So he likes the Plethoros. So, but out of these two, that's where I think the drop point comes in a little bit better for a knife. But I think that's blocking the camera. But we'll move out of the way. But that's about all I have to say about that one today.